What's going on YouTube? Cloverbells here, back with another Scarlet Violet team building video, and today we're going to be looking at Latias. So Latias is going to be another one of the new Pokemon that we're going to be getting for Regulation F, and it's another one of those dragons that you can also utilize competitively, right? So we've been getting, quite a few dragons, in Scarlet and Violet that have been getting some good recent play, within the last few months. And now you can add Latias to that list. I've been looking at some of the latest tournament results, the early tournament results, and the consensus is that Latias is going to be a very, very solid, strong addition to the format, just because it has a lot of utility in a lot of ways that it can help your team. Okay, now if you just look at its raw stats just in general, like 80 HP and 90 defense is already like pretty solid, right? And then the base special defense of 130 is very, very good. Special attack 110 also very, very good. And then 110 speed also solid. Okay, so now what you're thinking is like, okay, what are some of the tools that Latias can give me in terms of like move sets and support moves? So first of all, ability, is gonna be good. You get some ground immunity, so stuff like Landorus or the other Landorus-Incarnate can't really hit you with their ground moves, so that's already a good plus. And now what it allows you to do is, if you go for Terra Poison to be able to resist the fairy weakness, and now ground coverage can't hit you anyway because you have Levitate. Normally poison would be weak to ground type damage, but now with Levitate coupled with Terra type poison, now that doesn't matter. Okay, so that's the benefit of having this kind of Terra, with Latias. And then at the same time, this thing gets access to Tailwind now. So Latias can give your team speed control, and then it gets a cool new move this time around. It's called Mist Ball, base 95 damage, okay, 50% chance to lower special attack damage, so that could be really good against stuff like Flutter Mane, for example. And then you just go for stuff like, recover, and then, just healing over time, longevity, just keep yourself alive, okay, win potential 1v1 endgames, and then you have the big Draco Meteor at the very end to finish potential teams off, right? And then at the same time, now the general consensus is just to put this with a Rocky Helmet, similar to how Salamence was a special attacker with Tailwind, okay, and this Rocky Helmet set. So now what you're able to do is just, if anything physical is incoming to Latias, you're just able to deal big damage right back. So stuff like Urshifu Rapid Strike, right? You're resisting the water damage, and you're also resisting the fighting damage already, just like Salamence, right? But now the thing is with Salamence, you are faster than Salamence. So that's good, because now that gives you a little bit more extra EVs to put into your bulk if you decide to make your Latias even more bulky, which you should, right? And I think that's going to be the general consensus in terms of how to play it this time around in Scarlet and Violet Regulation F. And then, you just need this thing to, click Tailwind. And it's also really good into the Ogerpons, by the way, right? Because you're resisting fire, water, and grass. So that's the whole idea. Like, Latias is generally a pretty good bulky Pokemon. If you even couple this with Intimidate, now all of a sudden this base 90 defense is actually looking even better, right? Just because you're able to drop physical attack damage. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at some of the successful early teams thus far that have been able to utilize Latias, okay? And then we'll take that data, create our version of it, so this way you have something to use and start with if you're trying to use Latias in Regulation F. And again, I did want to use this one as well, just because, again, we don't know officially if we are going to be able to use some of the newer Paradox Pokemon. So like I said in my other previous video, I'm going to hold off on doing, Raging Bolt stuff or Walking Wake, just because I don't know if they're going to be official, and it would just be a waste if I were to do that and they end up banning it, right? So we're going to go with at least the relatively safe options that we know for a fact are going to be allowed, okay, even though they haven't like officially announced it yet, but it is part of the DLC. So they are going to give us this at the very least. So I wanted to at least focus on these builds first. And then once December 25th comes around, then we'll take a look at some of those Paradox Pokemon. Anyway, so let's take a look at some of the tournaments and let's see how people have been able to use Latias thus far in the early get-go. Okay, so right now I'm looking at the tournament from tonight, the Himi Turner Tour, and there's been a lot of good Latias play here. And by the way, this is a good tournament to look at because this is a 160 plus person tournament. So this is going to give you good early Regulation F data. So, if you're trying to get some ideas, this is the tour to look at because it is the most recent one as of right now. It has the most players, so it's going to give you the most up-to-date data as far as like what is being used and what has been successful thus far. So let's narrow it down. Let's click Latias because there's been good Latias play. Look at these records. Latias has had a good showing today. 53 wins, 37 losses. It's going to be good. I put it in the A tier in Regulation F if I had to do my tier list right now. and for good reason, okay? But we'll do a tier list video later on once we know, once things are legal. So let's take a look at Desu's team, okay? So he's going with the Registeel, you know, which probably would merit its own video later on, but let's see what he's doing here with Latias. So it's a Rocky Helmet, Terra Poison with Mist Ball, Tailwind, Recover, just like we suggested, and he does have Ice Beam as opposed to the Draco Mirror. That's good, that's okay. You know, that's good coverage against stuff like Landorus and other grass types in general. Opposing dragons, opposing Latias, right? Incineroar here, very standard with Urshifu, Rapid Strike, and Rillaboom, Fire, Water, Grass Core. Landorus does well with Latias, especially, you know, taking full advantage of the Tailwind. And then here is your Steel type in Registeel. So you don't have a Dragon Steel Fairy idea, but you do have a Dragon Steel, and you still have Fire, Water, Grass here. So smart idea. From Desu, just stick to things that are like standard and consistent. This is AV Rillaboom, Mystic Water Ursh, you know, very standard stuff. Substitute Landorus, I like a lot this format. This one from Rin, okay, how about this one? This one is with Specs Flutter, and here's the Kingambit. So there's your Dragon Fairy Steel Core. This is Choice Specs Flutter Mane with Icy Wind. I do like this very much because now you get a secondary form of speed control, just in case, you know, maybe sometimes you can't really use the Latias or really bring it in. At least the Flutter Mane can give you something to try and click. And then yet again, we do see the Substitute Landorus here. And then here's the Incin and Ogerpon fulfilling that Fire, Water, Grass Core. So again, look at the tools you got. You got Intimidate, you got Fake Out, you got Redirection, 2 forms of speed control. You have Setup here with the Kingambit. No, this is an AV Kingambit. Okay, right? And then you still have something for Trick Room because you have Substitute with your Landorus. So I do like this a lot. So shout outs to Rin here for a good team. And I think other people were using this 6, you know, more or less the same kind of set here. I think Shake had the same idea. Let me just take a look and make sure. Yeah, here's the Assault Vest. Here's the Choice Specs Icy Wind, Terra Dragon, Fake Out Parting Shot. Yeah, this is very standard as well. I think it's the same team. How about Olsen? Our guy Olsen, 6-3. Olsen, if you're watching the video, yo, how's it going? Shout outs to you. Whimsicott. So no Tailwind on the Latias, instead opting to go for a Prankster Tailwind with the Whimsicott here. And again, here's your Dragon Fairy Steel Core, Helping Hand, so it's going to do a lot of damage, you know. And Kingambit, I like Kingambit on these teams, you know, just because it's great into the Tailwind Mirror, because you're just clicking priority Sucker Punches, things are dying, things are melting. Instant is very common right now. I think Kingambit is going to be a good player in Regulation F, even more so than Regulation E. Goggles Incin, that's very standard. That's good for Amoonguss. Specs Flutter with Power Gem, no Icy Wind. Here's another Ogerpon here. Right, here's the Redirection support. Again, same kind of tools. Psyshock is a nice little tech move on Latias. You know, we forget often that Latias does have that Psychic typing, so you do have to be aware of opposing Dark types, of course, but you know, you do get a nice strong Psychic stab here with Psyshock, and Protect is really good. But still, we have the Rocky Helmet Terra Poison, so, you know, that idea is still very consistent with what we're doing. How about Nico here? Is this going to be the same idea? Let's see. This is Rain Dance Latias with Tailwind. Okay, that's good. Interesting that there is no Landorus I would say in Seer Storm, but that's fine. You do have Urshifu here, so that's good. Why not just use Tornadus Rain Dance here? I don't see why we can't really do that. But okay, this is still fine. But again, Latias, Kingambit, Flutter Mane, there's again that very common Dragon Fairy Steel. Here's Incin, Rilla, and Ursh. So still very good. Okay, this is Swords Dance Kingambit as opposed to the AV. All right, because the AV is on the Rillaboom, makes a lot of sense. What about Charisma here and then Violet? Like, are they running the same team? Is this the same general consensus that we're running here? Except this one, there is no Landorus I think this is the same as Nico's team over here. Yes, I do believe so. No, there is no Urshifu. Never mind. Okay, so what are we running? Here's that Choice Specs Icy Wind variant. Okay, Draco Meteor, Tailwind, Poison again. All right, standard stuff. And here's that Swords Dance, Sucker Punch stuff. So, okay, pretty solid, standard, consistent stuff. There is other ways to run it. Like, again, well, that's still the same card. They just weren't as successful. Raft had this same idea. Again, he was using the same team in another tour, but he got a very strong result there, 7-1. So maybe just had a little bit of bad luck. But there's another way to also use this idea with Latias. Right here from Samuel. I know it got 4-3, but this is another alternative. If you don't want to use Incineroar, you can use Landorus, okay? And then your fire type can actually be Entei here. So Entei is actually pretty cool here with Sacred Fire and Snarl. So potentially special attack damage reduction, and then, you know, you have the chance to burn. That's going to be pretty good. Support Entei with Citrus Berry is pretty cool. And then Landers here with the Choice Scarf stuff is also really, really nice. So this is another way to try and utilize a Latias kind of team. But again, Dragon, Fairy Steel, Kingambit, Flutter Mane, Latias. I think you can always just start there and then just round it out with a Fire Water Grass Core and slap on a Landorus, whether it be the Incarnate version or the special version, and then I guess you can just alter your fire type, right? But that's what I would do in the early get-go. Look at the stuff that is proven and successful, use that first, and then once you get used to that, then you can start making tweaks here and there, adjust things to your liking, get a little bit more creative, but at least start with the base build that has been successful thus far, that you've been able to see from other players. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to pull together all the data that we just saw with some of these cores, but I think it's pretty obvious what we're going to start with and what we're going to use, and then we're just going to give you EV spreads, you know, so this way you have something that you yourself can play on the ladder. All right, so let's go back into Showdown and let's build our Latias team. Okay, so we'll stick with the same set here with the Tailwind, the Mist Ball, the Recover, and the Draco Meteor. And like I said, let's stick with the proven stuff. Let's go Flutter Mane here. Let's go Kingambit. All right, and then let's go Incineroar. To me, like, dude, Incineroar is just too good not to use right now. I think you always should try and use it whenever possible, okay? If you want to go the Landorus Therian with the Entei variant, you can definitely do that. But right now, I do want to keep using Incineroar as much as possible. Ogerpon-Well Spring, you know, very, very good redirector. Really, really nice, you know, into like opposing Landers if you can get the speed control over it. And then finally, the Landorus-Incarnate. Very, very strong Pokemon right now. Rips through opposing Incineroars. You know, they don't want to be dealing with that. Rips through Iron Hands. Super effective damage. Again, Life Orb, Sheer Force, along with Substitute is going to be very, very punishing if you can set it up correctly. Okay, and then if you're afraid of Urshifu, this is why the Ogerpon is here. So you're able to support Incin and Landers, just, you know, if you are in front of the Urshifu Rapid Strike there. And then you also have Latias as well, you know, just to help you out there. So this is the General 6, okay? And what we're going to do now, we'll give you our sets, our variations, you know, just very, very slight, you know, but still going with the standard consistent stuff. I did like that Choice Specs Flutter Mane variant with the Icy Wind. I think having a secondary speed control move is nice. So, you know, Power Gem is a good move, but I do, like for us on this channel, we're going to go with the Icy Wind. Moonblast, Shadow Ball, Dazzling Gleam, for sure, along with Terra Fairy is going to be fine here. Okay, and the whole idea with the Choice Specs variant is, again, you can afford to go Timid here, and I always like to go 189 in this case, just to outspeed the max speed Modest Flutter Mane. So you'll always have the speed over it. All right, Kingambit here. Now, I did see those Assault Vest Kingambits, but I also saw some of those Swords Dance Protect variants. I do like Swords Dance Protect, so for that reason, I am going to go Black Glasses here, okay? And then at the same time, I am going to go Protect, and I am going to go Swords Dance here. Now, that being said, you can go the Safety Goggles route, you know, if you are afraid of redirection stuff, you know, especially like Among Us in terms of that. So you can definitely do that. But I just like Terra Dark, you know, with Black Glasses here, and I think this is really, really good. But of course, Kowtow Cleave and Sucker Punch is the way to go. And then, you know, I did like Terra Dragon. I think Terra Dragon is quite nice, you know, just to be able to resist a lot of what's being passed around, you know, against the Kingambit. Then the Incineroar here, I do like Terra Poison. You know, again, the fighting resistance is important. And of course, we need Intimidate. I do like Citrus Berry. You can go the Goggles route here as well, but again, I like Recovery Berry right now. Fake Out, Flare Blitz, Parting Shot, and Knockoff. Great, standard, solid, consistent Incineroar set. This thing, same thing, Ivy Cudgel, what's that thing called? Hornleech, Follow Me, the Redirection, Spiky Shield, and then Landorus Eye over here. I do like Poison here, of course. Yeah, I got a lot of Terra Poisons here. That's because we're running Sludge Bomb here, which is great into the fairy stuff. Okay, you know, especially like Flutter Mane here. So this is the 6. This is the way we're gonna run that 6 that's been running around here. And again, you know, just be using proven ideas, you know, just when you're first starting, okay, especially if it's early format. All right, so now what we're gonna do is we're gonna try and, you know, give some general EVs to this and then test it out in some games and see how it plays. All right, so let's take a look. Okay, so with Latias, I kind of want to EV it the way people have been trying to EV Salamence towards the end of Regulation E, and that is just to give it some general bulkier, and you probably want to make it bulky anyway, just because, you know, you are holding a Rocky Helmet item, and generally these Pokemon are always going to be relatively bulky. So to me, I see no reason why not. I can just almost max the HP here. Like, you know, base 80 HP is pretty good, but I think we're going to need as much HP as we want, you know, just so that the Latias has a little bit more extended longevity here with the recovery, right? Then from here, I think just going Timid Nature just to be fast, you know, having a good solid fast Tailwind. And I think what we want is, like, this will go, this is going to be faster than base speed 100, you know, Timid 180. But I think I want to go about 204 here just to outspeed opposing Timid Landuses. You know, because I believe they're going to be capping at 169 here, 168 even. So you can even go 169, but I want to just do a little bit of speed creeping and just go to 171 here. And I think that's still like a very, very good starting point. And then just, you know, 1 point in the bulk and just put a little bit in the special attack there. We're not really meant to do like, you know, big special attack damage. Latias is that support partner that can enable some of your, you know, other Pokemon like Landorus, Ogerpon, and even the Flutter Mane here. Okay, so that's really its job. The Flutter Mane here, like we said, we are going to go Timid Nature here, but what we can do is actually still make an adjustment in terms of our speed. I still like the investment of 116, 196 with this variant. And again, this whole calc dates back to Regulation E, where, or even before that, even Regulation D, where you're able to survive the Adamant Chien-Pao attacks, Sucker Punch, Icicle Crash, Adamant Nature. You're going to live it with this bulk. And then it's just a matter of how do you want to invest or redistribute the remaining 196 EVs. Well, one of it is going to special defense, of course. If you want a little bit more speed or more damage, actually we can go a little bit slower here. This is already okay. You're going to be slower than the modest Flutter Manes, but you do get to have a little bit more damage. So you can opt for this route if you so choose. Otherwise, you can drop this, okay, and extend your speed here and just go to 189 like this, right? And then the rest can just go into your special attack like this. And yeah, that's pretty much it in terms of like your EVs. This will outspeed the modest Flutters. But if not, if you want to, you know, have a little bit more damage, right? And then just outspeed, you know, stuff like, again, the opposing Landers or the Genies, right? 181 will speed creep the 179s, the max speed, you know, Tornadoes and whatnot. So if you can do that. And this is the spread to do that. But if you want a little bit more just to outspeed the modest Flutters, you can definitely do that as well. All right. Kingambit here. We'll just go relatively standard here with Adamant Nature. We'll go max attack, a little bit of speed, not really a whole lot, maybe just about 36, just to be a little bit faster than some of the Iron Hands out there, especially if they have a tiny bit of investment to try and win their opposing Fake Out Mirror. But really, you know, we're just trying to be bulky and just try to maximize our Swords Dance damage, you know, so this way when we click Sucker Punch into those Tailwind frail Pokemon teams, you know, we'll be able to pick up their KOs. All right. Incin, I do like Careful Nature. I hate dying to Landorus-Incarnate, so this is why we're doing it. I think 236 HP investment, you know, to optimize the berry recovery is pretty good. And then just going with 156 investment is very, very solid as well. A little bit of speed, 1 point in the attack, and then the rest just goes into the defense like this. Very standard Incineroar Careful Nature set. Ogerpon here. I do like Adamant Nature. Okay, max HP yet again. First benchmark here in the attack stat. I do like 84 EVs at the given moment just because this was meant to survive against the Choice Band, Flare Blitz, Hisuian Arcanine. Now, that being said, I don't know how well Hisuian Arcanine is going to be sticking around within the meta now that Incineroar is back. Okay, so that being said, maybe you can readjust these EVs to try and survive like a Flare Blitz Incin, in terms of that, but Flare Blitz Incineroar is not really going to do so much damage as opposed to like Choice Band, Hisuian Arcanine. So maybe you just keep it the way it is, or maybe you find like another physical calc that you might want to survive. But right now I kept it as it is because there is still some Hisuian Arcanines running around, but we'll see if that stays that way, you know, as the format gets announced and even progresses, right? But other than that, a little bit of special defense here, even number just to optimize your +1 boost that you're going to be getting when you know, terrestrialize, because you want that even number when you go 1.5 boost. You don't want that decimal, because when you get a decimal, it rounds down. I don't want to be able to do that. And a little bit of speed here, 184. So after Icy Wind, 141 speed is able to now outspeed those max speed Jollies, Jolly and Timid Flutter Manes that are max speed as well, and you can actually even speed creep them. So there's the benefit there for 141 speed Ogerpon. And then Landorus, I made like some, I made some slower, bulkier modest sets. I think that's okay, but I just went like for the time being, like just raw 252 on our Landorus, believe it or not. And this might shock many because you've seen me like optimize pretty much every single Pokemon when I build our teams, but for the sake of trying it out, like I just ran this Landorus and it was totally fine. So I didn't really have any problems in that regard. But if you've got your own like Landorus set, feel free to use that. But this is it. This is a general team with like some general EVs that you can use to start out with. Bulky Latias, bulky Flutter Mane, 252 Landorus, bulky Ogerpon, same thing with Incin. A lot of these Pokemon have like very, very specifically calced EV spreads here. So this is also really nice. So let's try it out. Let's take a look at some practice battles and let's give you our thoughts at the end. All right, so this is pretty much standard Tailwind offense here with double Fake Out, Goldango, Tornadus, and the Torn Urshifu with, friends, basically. So I'm thinking I can bring Latias here. It does look pretty good into like Incin, Iron Hands, especially, even the Ogerpon there. So Latias's matchup is pretty good. The only thing that you do have to watch out for is actually the other Urshifu, just because it is the dark one, not the water one, right? So that's already something I'm thinking of. But honestly, I have a lot of good tools against him as well. Kingambit, again, is really good into this Tailwind mirror, especially against Goldango over there, just kind of chilling. So we just need the Kingambit to get in the right position here. So I would lead the Kingambit just in case, right? Here's the Tornadus Ursh, right? And then here is Latias, and here's my Kingambit. So he didn't bring Instant. That's fine. So I go into Ogerpon here just to try and catch him if he wanted to click his close combat or, maybe Surging Strikes. But he goes for a U-turn there, so it looks like it might even just be Scarf, right? I go for a little bit of chip damage with Mist Ball. That's not too bad chip damage into Iron Hands, right? Spiky Shield there, so I'm trying to either Fake Out potentially. He fakes out that slot, so he does a little bit more damage to himself. I am able to take one more Bleak Wind Storm. Thankfully, there is no crit. All right, now I'm just going to switch out the lot, just try and preserve it. Let's go Flutter here, and he goes into Ogerpon. Smart switch there. I was going to Terra Water, and I was going to bop it on the head, so he gets this right. And I do live, even though I have the Spidef, right? And he did crit me, but, I get nothing out of that. So he wins that turn. He goes into Iron Hands here. I was targeting the Tornadus there. So my, again, Choice Specs Moonblast Flutter Mane is picking up this Iron Hands every day of the week, especially at that range. All right. Now, again, he has his Tornadus in position. You already know he's going for Tailwind, right? There's the reset of the Tailwind, which is fine, right? I do sacrifice the Ogerpon to protect my Flutter Mane, but now I do so much damage into his Ogerpon. That's within range of Kingambit, which actually comes in here, okay? He goes for Rain Dance. All right, we just Sucker Punch the Ogerpon, and that dies too. So now, a little bit more damage to Tornadus. He does get the Ursh in finally, but again, he didn't Terra yet, so that's fine. I'm going to sacrifice the Latias here, just because I know he wants the Flutter Mane here. And I just Sucker Punch the Tornadus just to force a 2, potentially 3-on-1. And he does more damage to himself, right? Which is great because now Flutter Mane comes in and you either go Death by Flutter or Death by Kingambit. All right, so he chooses the Flutter, which is fine because I was clicking Moonblast, which means in the Kingambit slot, I click Swords Dance, the best of both worlds, just in case, whichever one. And now you just click, Sucker Punch. From that range, Urshifu always gets melted there. So, what did we learn? Latias, Rocky Helmet, chip damage was important, and you still have to play the positional game, but you can see the value of Kingambit. We took out Tornadus, we took out Ogerpon, and in the end, we took out the Urshifu. And the Flutter Mane's and the Latias's damage into Iron Hands was made quick work of things, right? He just chose not to bring in the Incineroar. Of course, the Defiant on the Kingambit probably had something to do with that, but, that was a good, solid battle against the Tailwind offense team. All right, this one actually has the Hisuian Arcanine there with Amoonguss and Iron Bundle. So there's another Fire Water Grass core there. There's Fake Out here with the Iron Hands. And the Thundurus here. So actually this was Electric Terrain Thundurus. So which is interesting because now you can enable the Iron Hands and the Iron Bundle. I still don't think that was actually, that great, but either way, I still wanted to lead the Kingambit here, which did well to a lot of different things. So again, I'm gonna bring out Latias. All right, and I'm gonna see what he does. But here is Latias and here's Kingambit. So I am under the pressure of his own Kingambit. I wanted to see what he would do. He actually clicked Thunder Wave. I don't know why he did that. Maybe he just forgot how, dark types can resist that. but you know, I am on a fairly new account here. Here we go. Kowtow Cleave into the Latias, picking up the KO. So I don't really get to do much with the Latias here, but that's fine because now we just go into Landorus here. We start playing the positional game, and we don't get off a Thunder Punch here because he's actually going for Electric Terrain. That's actually really, really cool. But now we're going to catch him because now I know he's going for Sucker Punch. So I'm going to take that opportunity to go for Sub, set it up, and go for a Kowtow Cleave here. It doesn't pick up the Thundurus, which is interesting, but it does deal enough good damage. Now we just Sucker Punch Thundurus, and now behind the Sub, I can click Earth Power, and this Kingambit is going down. So that's 2 KOs here. My Landorus has its Sub. The Tailwind is gone. Here comes Bundle, and here comes Iron Hands. Now, he's getting the boost here, but there's only couple turns left of Electric Terrain. So if I can just stall out, you know, Fake Out, and, you know, another turn of Terrain, these attack and speed boosts are just going to go bye-bye, and Flutter Mane should be able to clean both of them up here, especially. All right, we just have to deal like enough good chip damage here. So he actually tears the Iron Hands into fighting, which you usually don't see, but he did it here. Freeze Dry into the Landorus, which is fine. We do have Earth Power into the Irons. That's very good. That's definitely within you know, range within Flutter Mane. More than that, you know, even after the Drain Punch. All right, so here we go. All of his buffs expire. Here comes Flutter Mane. All right, Terra Fairy. It's going to be Dazzling Gleam, dealing a lot of damage. All right, I just wanted to protect Landorus just in case I don't get to pick up the bundle here. But either way, we just always target the hands here. There's no protect. You know there's no protect. And then, you know, again, there's the Sash bundle. He does go for Freeze Dry as opposed to Icy Wind. But that, again, that's not going to be enough. Flutter Mane has a ton of special defense against the Iron Bundle special attack. So at this point, it really just doesn't matter. And, you know, Flutter is once again able to clean up a game like this. All right, another strange team here. This is triple starter team, actually. There's Incineroar, there's Superior, and there is Primarina. There's also Raichu here. I don't know why Raichu's on a team like this, but very, very funny team. But, you know, it seems weird to lead Latias into, like, 2 dark types, but overall, like, I still want the Tailwind advantage because if I can get the speed control on a lot of these mons, then, you know, stuff like Landorus and Flutter Mane is just able to sweep them entirely, right? Especially even my Ogerpon. So here we go. Latias Landorus here at the get-go. He goes with Superior and his own Chiyu. So this is fine. You know, I know Contrary is a move, but still. All right, so he goes for Terra Wall. He's going to try and go for the kill on the Landorus. And unfortunately, this is why Superior isn't so great because you can't even kill the Landorus. Terra Blast, Terra Water, which means free kill into the Chiyu. All right, and now here comes his own Landorus, which is fine. Again, just Mist Ball going to his Landorus. A little bit of chip damage. And then there's Earth Power. Also very, very good chip damage into Superior. I do lose the Landorus this turn, but that's fine. Okay. And he's going for U-turn. That's probably a Scarf. And there is the Rocky Helmet chip, right, into Premier. But that's just fine because, look, we go into Ogerpon. We're kind of chilling here. And now we can just click the Grass move into the Water type. He already terra'd, so there's no surprises there. The only surprise here was the crit. He did die, but again, even if he did get off an attack into the Latias and pick up the KO, we still have, you know, options in the back to really just finish the job because this Superior is not doing anything. We still had Tailwind for another turn. So I guess he figured, you know, I'm just going to concede. But anyway, here's the pace. So Latias with some of these support options is going to be good. Incineroar, you know, parting shot after Tailwind, you know, on your Latias is going to be good, especially if you can get in something like Ogerpon and Landorus or even Flutter Mane for that matter safely. That's why, you know, we also made the Incineroar a little bit slow. But then, you know, Kingambit still doing work in Regulation F, as you saw in some of those games. And Flutter is still a very, very good choice specs late game cleaner in that sense. And Ogerpon had its good use. It's very, very good, especially when you terrestrialize it. I feel like that was one of the better ones that we had in terms of like you trying to terrestrialize. I never really clicked Terra on the Latias a whole lot. Okay. It was mostly either the Ogerpon terrestrializing or the Flutter Mane for just a little bit more damage. All right. But anyway, give the team a go. Let me know how you do. And again, if you're trying to get some Regulation F team building going and you need a little bit of help, feel free to sign up for coaching on the channel with the tier 3 sub. If you look in the video description below, there is a link to join the channel with that tier 3 sub. And even in the comments section, I post the same link and it's a pinned comment. So it's going to show up at the top as the first thing. You can click that, join the channel, join the Discord. You know, if you don't, if anything, just join that and you get to interact with some of my members in my community. And then you also get notifications when my videos go up on the channel. All right. But anyway, sign up for coaching on the channel. If that is something you're interested in, we build the squad from scratch and I show you how to do the EVs just like this. You know, a lot of people are, you know, taking slots, you know, for January because they're getting ready for Charlotte, which is understandable. So once December 25th hits, that's when our coaching is gonna go skyrocket. All right, but anyway, sign up now, and that'll do it for now. You know, we'll be back with another video in the next one. Peace out, and have a good one.